This is a story about how I broke my leg playing chicken tennis. These are some of the people I worked with at the time. James, Julian, and Andy, who always warned me that chicken tennis was a dangerous game. This is me. This is my leg. There's a metal plate in there now. Unfortunately, I don't have the x-rays anymore, so you'll have to take my word for it. When I tell people that I broke my leg playing chicken tennis, a lot of them imagine that I was dressed as a chicken at the time. This isn't true. This is where it happened. In the Skyline Pavilion at Butlins in Bognor, Regis. We all worked there as entertainers during the summer of 1999 for a company called the Ministry of Fun. We'd put on performances in the main stage area, which went down very well. We'd clown around doing magic and any other knockabout nonsense that we'd dreamt up in the pub the night before. I can't remember where the idea for chicken tennis came from, but we developed a routine which basically involved Andy stopping any of us from playing chicken tennis on the grounds that it was too dangerous. When we worked as a three, the gag would go something like this. One of us would get the crowd going by starting to bat the chicken around. Then Andy would arrive and stop the game. He'd tell us off, hide the rackets, and start another routine. Then one of us would distract Andy while the other one got the chicken and the rackets out again. The kids in the audience especially liked the notion of a forbidden game, and sometimes we would spin out the gag for 20 minutes. One day, however, the audience became so excited by the idea of a forbidden match that they started booing Andy and demanding to see an actual game. Andy responded by walking off, saying that he'd have nothing to do with such a dangerous activity. So, egged on by the audience, two of us started playing the game, with a redcoat as umpire. After a few minutes of knocking the chicken back and forth, we realised that the idea of being prevented from playing chicken tennis was much funnier than the actual game. So I decided to try and spice up the match by missing the chicken in a spectacular fashion. As a chicken sailed towards me, I leapt high in the air and span around, landing heavily on my right leg. I felt a snap near my ankle and knew straight away I had quite a serious break. My foot was sticking out at a strange angle and my leg was starting to swell. I couldn't walk, so Andy in a red coat carried me off and sat me down outside Burger King while someone phoned for an ambulance. While I was waiting, one of the security men suggested I had in fact only dislocated my ankle and offered to put it back for me. I declined. When the ambulance arrived, Noddy and Big Ears, the next act, were just coming out. They made a big fuss of me as I was carried out on a stretcher. And they were the last thing I saw as the ambulanceman drove me off, and we laughed all the way to the hospital. I couldn't work again for some months after that, but in a way I was quite relieved. I had been feeling that I was a bit too old to be clowning in Butlins and perhaps I should do something else with my life. I haven't worked as a clown since the chicken tennis incident. Someone told me that these things always happen for a reason. I'd like to think that's true, but in reality I think things just happen to us. And we find a reason for it afterwards.